Hey, Planeswalkers, hope you're doing well and staying safe. Welcome to our weekly series here, Friday Night Meta, with yours truly, MetaMaster Mythras. As always, my friends, breaking all the best down for you in the meta overview here. Excited because we are beginning to close this out. This will be the last week that we have of Kamigawa moving forward into the streets of New Capenna. So very excited about this in terms of what we have going on. Next week, we'll see where things are. Hopefully we got some fun decks, those kinds of things. So appreciate you tuning in. Flip me a like, smash the subscribe. Love to see you around. We got a lot of stuff going on here. Looking forward to digging in as always for you, my friends. Appreciate that support. Great ways to do that down below. If you have a question or comment, let me know. Feel free to hop in the Discord server. Tons of community members there. So thank you as always. Always a fun banter chatter going on there and lots of awesome action. All things Magic the Gathering. So thank you. Now, we'll break it down for you here today. Cross Standard, cross Alchemy, cross Historic, into Historic Brawl, with Best of 1, Best of 3. All that's there for you in the timestamps. And we'll also talk a little bit about some of the events over the past weekend that certainly always have impacts on the meta. So let's get moving. So here's what we got going on when it comes to the meta overview for the top 8 decks. Mono White staying strong. Now, again, this is at an aggregate. It might change as we get a little bit drilling, but you can see huge win ratio and also a huge portion of the meta at 17%, followed closely by, well, I shouldn't say closely, but in half. It's not close. By Nigh Humans, Nigh Runes also in there, and then everything else about 3 to 5%. A lot of steady Eddie, I'll say, over the last course of a couple months here with Kamigawa, but we did see some pretty new decks. Again, when we think about the Nigh Humans, Nigh Runes, Nigh Humans got better, Nigh Mono White Aggro got better, stayed the same. In terms of what was in there, Rakdos Sacrifice, Leslie Enchantment certainly becoming more of a thing. And then the other ones that still kind of maintained within the meta. Now, as we scroll down here, you can certainly see how things have evolved over time. Again, set release, like we saw, that huge uptick of Leslie Enchantments, like we talked about. We see some of the other players in there and popping up. Again, same with the Rakdos Sacrifice being one of those top trending decks. As well there over the course of the last 2.5 months. So very cool. Now, as we close out our season here, or the set, when it comes to Kamigawa, we can certainly see Mono White maintained its dominance throughout. We definitely saw some challenges in here with Nigh Runes and so forth. Now, again, this is popularity over time. When we do look at the win rates, fairly steady all the way across the board here for a lot of those top contenders. We do see Rakdos making a bigger play in terms of what's going on. There's probably some refinement in the deck, those kinds of things as always, as we look at that. Very volatile here when it comes to Nimmer control as well. So let's go into the more competitive scene here. I like Platinum to Mythic as that viewpoint. So we do see Nigh Humans getting a little bit of a head. Mono White Aggro, Leslie Enchantment gets a little bit better. And then you can see everything else here as well. Again, Mono White Aggro, not quite 17%, falling down a little bit. Nigh Humans gets a little bit more picked up there as well. Again, popularity or win rates doing a little bit better. And we can see this here in sort of some of that tight race on those things. Now, as we get into Mythic, which we can, because we are in the back half of the month, we should have a little bit better data points. So here you can see Nigh Humans doing really well. We do see Boros Aggro here as well. We don't see that in the other space, which is an important note. Leslie Enchantments, Mono White Aggro not doing as well as some of the other stuff, again in Best of 1, and then Orzhov Control. So those are really important data points for us. You can see Nigh Humans getting up to about 12%, 19.7 here for Mono White Aggro. Lots to pay attention to. Now we're going to pop out the best of 3 here. We got Nigh Runes, Leslie Ramp being a newer one in terms of the meta. We see Timur Midrange, also similar. Azor's Control, Izzet Control popping in there as well. Orzhov Control being the most played deck, right around the middle of the pack there in terms of win rates. Then we drop down to Mono White Aggro, everything else really kind of sticking around that 8% range or the 3 to 4. Here we see that popularity over time. Again, Orzhov Control really dominating in terms of popularity. We can see some of the win rates and those things here also following suit. We do see new things like Jeskai Hinata popping in. We also see a rise in Naya Runes, again, another new one. We also see Rakdos Sacrifice. So a couple new decks in terms of what unfolded there with Kamigawa as we kind of reflect back on what's happening. We see a massive spike here in Naya Runes doing well in the meta in terms of win rates. Selesnya Ramps popping in there. Some of the other stuff like Kanata falling off, and Azorius Control also falling off in terms of best of 3. So very, very fun to see. And again, Teamer Midrange, really that OTK kind of combo deck we talked about last week. Then as we move into Platinum, we see a few things move around. Orzhov Control getting a little bit better, strengthening, and again, stuff following similar paths here. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at Mythic. Mythic, boom, Naya Runes at the top, Orzhov Control, Selesnya Ramp, Rakdos Sacrifice, Mono White Aggro, and Azorius Control in the space. So that's what we have going on to close out our Mythic scene in standard best of 3. All right, so now we're going to blow that back out. We're going to flip over to Alchemy here. Alchemy we got going on. Again, some changes here with the rebalancing. So we got Rakdos midrange, Mono Green Stompy, Rakdos Sacrifice, Grixis midrange, Golgari Elves. Awesome. All right, so here's what we got. Lots on Rakdos, 30% of the meta when it comes to best of 3. So we did get a best of 3 clip. I should go over to best of 1. We'll go over to best of 1. We'll come back to that. I spoiled it. It's all right. Rakdos Sacrifice still there anyway. We're good. So best of 1. Then we got Gruul Werewolves, Mono Green Stompy, Mono White Aggro. Again, Azorius Control kind of falling out there. Naya Runes, Golgari Elves, Mono Black discard. We can see 10% there, 7%, 6. Good win rates on that Rakdos Sacrifice, as well as Gruul Werewolves, Mono Green Stompy, and Mono White. We can see how things are playing out here with the rebalancing about 2 weeks ago. So pretty important to see that. We see a lot of the trending here kind of sideways in terms of win rates. So those two certainly sticky in terms of the decks, at least for right now in the meta. And then you can also see kind of that percent played. As we move into the more competitive space, let's see what we get. A few things flipping around. Mono Green Stompy doing a little bit better in that space. Mono Black discard still sub 50. And again, there we can see this pickup really coming with Mono Green Stompy in the works. And then last but not least, we'll see if we get some clips at Mythic. Nope. Let's go back. So that's really just volume, not a ton of people playing Alchemy. And then we did show that best of 3. So quickly, we'll talk through this again. Again, here's what we got in terms of the top 5 decks. Really recently, Rakdos midrange really performing well. But then in return, we see Grixis midrange really dropping down. Steady on Mono Green, steady on Rakdos Sacrifice, which is pretty important to see. Let's drill into more competitive scene. Still there, 68% there at the top end. Let's see if we get anything in Mythic. Nope, was also expecting that. So a little bit more Alchemy data, which is good. Again, not as many at-bats, I would say, there, leading to what we have there. I will go to best of 1. Now let's go to Historic. So Historic right now, taking it down, Selesnya Heliod at the highest win rate, right in the middle of the pack in terms of played. Mono Red Aggro is doing very well at 56%, number 2. Highest played deck, certainly myself has enjoyed that deck, at least this one. Martyr Vehicles, combo deck, turn 3 deck. Azorius Control, well, the opponent's going to quit after turn 3. It's usually what happens. Azorius Control, Mono Green Elves, lots of Azorius Control I've been seeing. Azorius Auras, which is interesting seeing the number there. Mono Red Burn is at Phoenix, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. Again, at Broad, huge downtick in Mono Red Aggro. We see that. We see everything else kind of going sideways. We do see this big pickup in Selesnya Heliod, so it's important to see that when it comes to Historic. Now, let's go ahead and get to the more competitive scene here. We get to Platinum, not really a big change up, so that's important to see. Is it Phoenix not doing so well in best of 1? Again, huge drop off. Everything else following in suit there. Last but not least, let's go to the competitive scene here. Mono Red Aggro on 60%, 70% of the meta. Really nice way to potentially climb there here quickly before the new set pops. That way you can get to Mythic maybe before it comes. All right, next, best of 3. Azorius Auras, one of my favorite decks actually. Azorius Auras, 62%. and a half. We got Mono Red Aggro, Gruul Aggro, Is It Phoenix, Azor's Affinity, Azor's Control, Rakdos Arcanus, and that lovely 5-color Niv. Again, popularity today, 20% almost on Is It Phoenix, and then you can see everything else, about half and half. Again, here's that huge boost in Is It Phoenix, similar to the Mono Red Aggro, and then a huge falling off. And then again, win rates as they are there, my friends. So let's see if in the competitive scene we get a little bit more space. A couple things change, not too much there. When we do a quick pass over there, 5-color Niv does fall below 50%, but yet still maintains 5% of the meta. And then again, you can see this Azor's Control creeping back up there in terms of being very competitive. Last but not least, as we go to Mythic, Is It Phoenix, Rakdos Arcanist at 50%, even though it's a ton played in the meta. So very, very important there to pay attention to those things. So that is historic. Last but not least, we have historic Brawl here for this week. So this week, did we get any changes? Niv Mizzet, there you go. Not Reborn though. Well, actually both. So you got 2 Niv Mizzet decks here being played. So that's a big change, I think, from over last week. Slivers are back, which is great. I love sliver decks. And then you can see a lot of the trends and how the win rates are going there. Always very, very polar, but that's part of the fun. And then again, you can see the popularity today in terms of what's going on. Kinnan, Synthis, Niv Mizzets. So playing 2% will get you into this board. Very, very fun, as always. All right, so now we're going to move into tournaments that had an impact of last week. First one, 1,000 or 1K cash good game tour. So this again being 183 players, also being a standard event. What do we have going on? We got Samson taking it down. Congratulations, buddy. Way to go, going 10-1 on Rakdos Sacrifice here for the Good Game Tour. 1,000 or 1K cash Cup 4 championship qualifier, again being standard. So very, very neat, bud. Congrats. Truly, I'll make sure to tweet that to you as well when I post this video. So nice job, buddy. Then we got Stephen McGee there in mono white. We got Orzhov midrange, Jeskai control, Naya runes, banned tokens, Esper planeswalkers, Teamer treasures. Very, very fun. Next, we got also at the same time Pizza Box Open standard championship here. 128 players, 240 in cash. 18,000 arena gems, sponsored by Comic Book. All right, so here's what we got. Hiroki Nagase here in Naya runes, 9-2 taking it down. Teamer treasures, Mardu midrange, mono white control, Jeskai storm in there, Orzhov midrange. So you're starting to see a little bit of this change going on again with some of the meta stuff. We did talk about that. Obviously some of the other decks that still have maintained dominance, but when we get to the tournament scene, we're seeing a few different things here. The other thing we can look at, certainly the number of decks, percent win, Esper Control not doing great. Rakdos Sacrifice not doing great here, but doing well with Samson taking down the other one. Orzhov midrange, Naya runes, Jeskai storm, Mardu midrange, and so forth. So very, very cool there in terms of how this stuff went down. So let's go back, close things out here, my friends. So this is the last week of Kamigawa. We're looking at the streets, ready to go, ready to brawl in Capena, and we'll see how that goes. I'm probably butchering that, but that's all right because that's me. And looking forward to that and some changes like everyone else. So thank you as always. I hope you enjoyed the weekly series. I love doing this. Friday night meta. Stay tuned because we got a ton of stuff here, and I will get back into the swing of things on the channel as well. So thank you so much for your support as always. Flip me a like, smash the subscribe, questions, comments. I love to hear from the community as always. Love the feedback. Feel free to swing by the Discord server. Great way to support the channel. Thank you to the YouTube members. Thank you to the patrons. Always, I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for that support. With that, Planeswalkers, we'll see you again soon. Stay tuned. A lot of things coming your way, and continuing with our Friday night meta. All right, take care. You stay safe. Until next time, Mythras out.